Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week again. Well, probably shouldn't say that. It's only been a couple of Thursdays, but fuck it. We're here anyways. It's the PD Skillz Show. And this week, my guest, you might recognize him from podcasting, refereeing, wrestling, playing a bunch of fucking games on Twitch that you could watch him do live. It's the one and only Matthew motherfucking Grant. What's good?
What is going on? Thanks, dude. Thanks for reaching out. I've watched a lot of your stuff. I've wanted to be on for a while. So when you reached out, it's like perfect timing. Let's do it.
Hey, like I said, it was fate because like there was stuff I knew I needed a specific type of guy to talk to about this week with everything in wrestling. And you've definitely you still have the fan passion as well as the work passion where you still like it all over the place. So that's good.
Always, man. Especially with what's going on lately, man. Holy shit.
Yeah. So let's I want to lead off though for those of you that aren't familiar with Matthew Grant. He's been a man of many hats over the years. So why don't you fill everybody in real quick?
So just really simple. Ran a podcast for about 5 years. Did a lot of cool shit. I got to work with a lot of different talents that are, on your television screens now or popping up in all the popular independent shows. It's really cool what I got to do with that. Transitioned on. I did a little bit of ring announcing stuff, a little bit of commentary stuff, but my main thing I was doing was refereeing. I did that for a little while and then transitioned to pro wrestling where I'm doing my thing. I'm the current HPW Tag Team Champion, inaugural Pro Wrestling Ontario Openweight Champion, former Death Proof Youngblood Champion, former multiple-time Tag Team Champion. So I think I've done pretty well for myself, and it's just onwards and upwards from here, man.
Absolutely, and it's kind of funny though your trajectory though, because a lot of people you find like go from the ring to reffing or ring to ring announcing and all that, and you've gone like the complete opposite. You've went from the position we're in right now, before it was more common and a lot of people were doing it. You were doing the podcasting and all that before everybody and myself got one, and you kind of kept going and more and more and more and more, and now you're out there, you're doing great promo work, if I do say so myself.
I appreciate that. Really. I feel like honestly, that's my strong suit. So I genuinely appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, absolutely, man. Because I mean, you see the work put in. A lot of guys are sometimes, and even myself sometimes included, I think I get a little bit of slack because of the pothead thing. But a lot of people are a little too casual in their promos, I find. So I like what you do. I like what Kyle's been doing.
Yes.
I like people that are putting some sort of production value, because I mean that's leading into a show, and that's like for some people you're selling them the show, so the presentation is everything, especially now because we're outside a lot.
It's the biggest thing to me, man. I think if you're a pro wrestler, I think that's part of your obligation to taking an event booking is to promote that event, is to make people aware that you're going to be there, is to make people aware that the event is happening. So I think that's very crucial to any time that I'm on a show, you will see me post a promo. As far as as long as I get advanced, if you're just a surprise or there's always circumstances.
Yeah. And, before we get carried away though, it's my understanding. Well, I mean, this is going to air for a Thursday, so this is the beauty of changing the night up. We got a show for Matthew Grant coming up this weekend. Some tag team action. Man, I'm
so excited. I'm actually in the both of the shows. Not exactly what I'm doing on the second one, but Courage Pro Wrestling going down this weekend at the Bridgeworks Event Center. A lot of cool shit going down. The Next Generation Showcase. We're facing the Gnarly Boys. Those guys are awesome. I'm really excited for that tag. And then, the second show, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it's going to be a lot of fun regardless. The fact that we're having live wrestling again, man.
Yes, and 2 events in one day.
Yeah, man. You're getting your money's
beauty, and I like the way they're doing that. And there's some guys that look to be on both shows, and it just creates an opportunity for everybody, and I think that's really fucking dope.
I think it's cool that they're showcasing new talent as well. People that you wouldn't normally get to see get that opportunity.
Yeah, so fucking shout out to Courage, because that's dope shit.
Hell yeah, man.
So obviously the reason I've called upon you today is obviously being a fan of professional wrestling first and foremost.
Yes.
This has been a big week, or should I say big weekend, or should I say big fucking Sunday? As a fan of professional wrestling, All Out.
I don't even know where to begin. So there was obviously rumors. People were obviously aware that it may happen. And the thing I love about AEW, that they do the best is they give you that 99% chance that it's gonna happen, but that 1% of doubt. So when it does happen, you still get that surprise. And
it's like just enough that like you could still be excited for it.
Yeah, that man. Where do we even begin? Seriously.
Well, I mean, obviously, the story that popped everybody the biggest would have been CM Punk's return. We'll go right from the start of it. What do you think of the Long Boys? He even put out a Twitter poll on it. What are you thinking of the Long Boys?
I wasn't expecting it. I was genuinely expecting the Money in the Bank, straight up trunks, Chicago gear. Like, yeah, I was genuinely blown away. I thought he was wearing maybe track pants and he was gonna rip them off.
I did at first too. Like that's what we thought. I'm like, oh, those come off, and then I realized the kick pads were over top, and I'm like, wait, no, those are tights.
Yeah, and I seen the stars on the side too, so I was like, oh, okay, that's a look. Not my favorite look for CM Punk, but I get it.
Agree with the comparisons to Shawn Michaels' return, the unfinished gear return.
Yes,
I've seen a couple people comment that. I'm like, oh, that's savage because it was finished gear. It looked good, but it's just different. Really weird. It's like when the first time Jericho came out in Weens, or when he went like first time any kind of big change on a wrestler.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I almost expected it. He hasn't wrestled for 7 years, like he's gonna want to show off what looks the best.
I thought he was gonna. I honestly halfway thought he was gonna come back in the MMA style shorts that he wore prior to going to WWE, but then I'm like, maybe he wants to steer clear of the MMA comparisons.
Yeah, that's very true. Or like the Ring of Honor shorts, whatever the case may be, right? Yeah.
So the match itself, what did you think about it?
It was exactly what I expected, but it looked like he looked good. Like he hit all his spots. He hung with Darby. Like it was a little slow points, but it was exactly what I expected. I think everything.
Have you seen like the basically what the match kind of paid tribute to?
Yes, that was amazing. The 1, 2, 3 kid Bret Hart back in the day. That was the 5 spots that they did. Very cool.
Yeah, or as the IWC would say, Bret Hart versus Lil Bitch. I actually fucking love X-Pac, but that was like one of the most trending. So underrated. One of the most trending things, and I was like, oh my god! Like there was a whole reel of X-Pac's Little Bitch things that my buddy showed me. I'm like, oh man, this is so true, but I love him. This is what they did to him.
It's so heartbreaking.
Now, with that match, like as far like we didn't see CM Punk come off the top with an elbow drop. Do you think he's still saving? Like, because that I mean that was a go-to for him near the end.
Yep.
Or any of his top rope stuff, so to speak. Do you think that's something maybe he was saving, or is he playing it safe?
I think he may have played it safe for the first match, but I think he's also saving it. I think you don't want to blow your whole load in one match. You want to, save, because I'm sure he's going to wrestle a couple of matches a year or something like that. Kind of have a part-time schedule. So. And
I mean, honestly, like Punk, I didn't know how he would be. It's 7 years. 7 years is a long time.
Yeah, man.
And Darby, I knew would be on point. Obviously, a big opportunity for himself. But I think the biggest thing that kind of like surprised me in that is they were able to get a 50-50 crowd in Chicago.
Yeah, that's a big one, man. I was very surprised the crowd didn't turn on Darby.
I almost feel like, because it's Chicago's a smart crowd and AEW is a smart audience as well. Mm-hmm. I almost feel like they just as much wanted CM Punk's first match back to be memorable for all the right reasons, and not just like, because I mean they knew it was face versus face, so they know if they shit 100%. On Darby Allin, it's not what they're going.
But in the same sense, Punk's the type of guy that he can go that little like tweener route and still get away with it.
I feel like Darby could pull it off too. Like he's already got a sinister look. He's a dark character. It's not a stretch to believe that on the fly, if the crowd starts booing him, it only takes like a smile the right way or a look into the crowd the right way, and
100%.
your intent is completely different.
Yep. I've had to do that before too. So yep.
And I mean, obviously, we'll start with the debuts. Ruby Soho, was that surprise to you or?
No, I've watched all of her videos and kind of did my homework. The first video, it shows that she has a ticket. I think it's from New York City to Chicago.
But a lot of wrestlers fucking troll now with that shit.
Yeah, I know. For real though. But I expected her to pop up. I think that's the perfect destination for her. Pun intended. She's amazing. I don't think WWE even gave her close to a fair shake to what she's capable of. I watched that girl.
Aside from the release, I thought I felt like there's obviously time on the clock, because I mean there's time on the clock if she is where she is. But they just kind of abruptly see you later.
Yeah, I've seen that girl have some bangers with Josh Alexander. I've seen her hang with some of the best in the world, and the fact that, again, she didn't get a fair shake, it bothered me quite a bit. So to see her in AEW, where it seems like they've started to really build that division into something special, it's really cool. And I think her and Britt's going to be an awesome match.
And okay, so before I ask this one, because I mean I feel like Ruby and Britt could have happened at any time. I agree or disagree. The Casino Battle Royale should have been Thunder Rosa's motherfucking win.
Yeah, man. I don't know if they're gonna do Ruby to build to Thunder, but you got to get back to that, man. That was the moment that made Britt as well as you know.
I feel like she was the Bret Hart to her Austin that night, and they need to run it back to give her shake too.
100%. I think Thunder's got to be the one to take the belt off of Britt. There's no questions.
Yeah,
it's like Hangman's got to be the guy to take the belt off of Kenny.
You think? See, and do you think that's still going to be where they go with it?
I do. I genuinely do.
Yeah, because from at least what I've gotten to read, Tony Khan says he doesn't like to give too much false hope about things or anything like that. He doesn't like to make you feel like you got let down. And so obviously that's the trajectory he's going. And he said another thing he said was that none of his signings interrupt current plans.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to hold true with this many signings?
I hope so. I genuinely do, because they built that so well, and I think people were genuinely crushed when Hangman and Dark Order lost that 10-man tag. People, I think, were 100% sold on the fact that they were going to win that match. Dark Order was going to get.
I was invested. I was invested the minute they did that dope ass entrance.
Oh man, that was so sick, so good. The spotlights, the gear, everything. But no, I think
awkward bunch of motherfucking cowboys. But
yep,
I dug it.
Yeah, that's the route they got to go, man. They got to go that route.
So with the I mean, I just got done at this time watching Dynamite. I'm assuming you haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet.
I haven't gotten a chance, but I know kind of an idea of what happened.
The direction with CM Punk. Are you aware of it?
A little bit, if you want to divulge into it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening at home, if you haven't watched Dynamite, sucks to suck because we're talking about it a tiny bit. So what have you already gathered about the CM Punk stuff? Because I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it.
No, I genuinely I would like to be.
So it seems, and I don't know if this is going to be a pay-per-view steering route. And it just kind of makes me laugh because Taz interrupts him. Taz interrupts Punk. Punk's basically asking the crowd who they'd like to see him, and pulls the face next and pulls the crowd.
Funny that happened, because he posted something about the finding a Team Taz hat at the gym on his Instagram earlier. So
yeah, and
so funny.
So Taz gets on the mic and he's like, "Don't you dare mention Team Taz!" And he's like, "Taz, literally nobody mentioned Team Taz." Nobody mentioned. He's like, well, yeah, you did on your Twitter, on your Instagram, on social media. He's like, you mentioned Team Taz, and he's like, but don't you dare mention him right now. And like, so he's like, okay, I get it. And he's like, named them all and was like, line them up.
So
And he included Hook in the list.
Oh, that's interesting. That genuinely piques my interest because, like, him being Taz's son, like, I genuinely think there's something there. And
he hasn't had a legitimate like televised match yet, has he?
No,
nothing.
No, not that I think they'd like give it with Punk, but in the same sense, they even tease that is pretty cool. I think him and Starks would be amazing.
I feel like that have to be. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if Starks should be the payoff on it. I know he's like their lead guy in Team Taz right now, but
Hobbs.
Yeah, Hobbs looking good. I wasn't sold on him at first, but like
I wasn't either.
They put the bow on him.
Yep. Him joining Taz, I think, was the perfect move.
Yeah, and it's a great fit.
Yep.
Because he's a legitimate bruiser athlete. Like, it's great.
I seen, just the fact that went down and they teased even any of that going down is really cool. So you got Starks, Hook, Hobbs. I guess Cage isn't in the group anymore, so
yeah. And then, I mean, obviously, as far as Daniel Bryan goes, based on where he came out and All Out, he's going right after the Elite.
Oh yeah, I to be honest, I literally before we started recording, I watched that segment. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, like out of all the guys that they signed, like his Punk, I understand it's a smart route to go. Good professional wrestling matches. Nice and slow burn,
and working with the younger talent, giving them a rub too.
But Bryan Danielson, he's hot still. Yep. He's only had a vacation.
Yep,
like he's ready to go, and
he wants he's full throttle. Like he wants to go too. Like he's ready to bang out matches. So I'm excited.
I'm excited for that. Obviously, I hope he plays it safe. Just like at the end of the day, I hope anybody does. And takes care of himself, but I'm glad that we're gonna have the opportunity to see him compete at the level he wants to.
Man, like all of that happening at once, and I'm sure you're gonna bring up Adam Cole as well. Like the contract situations that have been happening with the NXT talents as of late. My goodness, man,
it's nuts, man. It's fucking crazy. They're doing this whole rebrand. It's
now Kevin Owens possibly too.
Destination there. Almost there.
Holy shit, man.
And did you see those tweets?
That and the coordinates. Just teasing away, man. Teasing away. I'm loving right now that they are able to pick up these talents and give them what they want. Like these guys weren't getting TV time. These guys weren't getting prominent storylines. These guys weren't getting the quote unquote push that they deserve.
Yeah. And it's funny because people are like, oh, they keep signing all this. They're not going to have enough TV time. And they're like, here's 3 more motherfucking shows. Suck it.
Yep.
And none of the shows, obviously Elevation is a lot of matches, but I mean, none of the shows are bad shows. It's either a wrestling show or it's a TV show.
Yep. And a lot of what AEW is putting out is wrestling shows, and it's fantastic.
And none of it's like over dramatic.
Oversaturation, and they're using a lot of independent guys and giving them spots too, man. There's so much beneficial that's coming from AEW for the wrestling business as a whole right now. It's really cool to see.
Once Punk goes 100%, once he's right back in the swing, and who's the one guy you'd be pumped to see him work with?
I think there's no questions. You got to do him and Bryan.
Yeah, run that back. But I mean, I think everybody expects that to happen.
Maybe him and Omega.
That would be good. Like that's one that, I mean, obviously, if you're dream booking and you just want to slap the biggest names on, I mean, how can you not?
Yep.
Um,
I think it'd be cool to see him in Jungle Boy.
Yep, that's one I'd like to see. Like while the good guy buddy thing's kind of going, because the face versus face thing will tire quickly if they keep him face.
Yeah. Heels, I'd like to see him work.
That's why it made sense for Adam Cole to come back and just fucking squeeze back in with the Elite, because too many like Christian Cage, Big Show, fucking
Jungle Boy.
Well, I mean, as far as like new additions that are all face,
Okay,
or Bryan Danielson, like it's all face, because people are excited to see these guys.
Yep.
Adam Cole was the first guy where they could go, yeah, boo.
Oh, that last 5 minutes of the show was just perfect.
Yeah, and I like
genuinely perfect.
I think the funny thing is, like, I marked out super like huge because I was like, oh, I can't wait. Final countdown. And and my buddy goes, he's like, Ride of the Valkyries. And I'm like, okay, I will only accept that if it's some sort of like hard version, like some, I'm like, I'm like,
trap remix.
Yeah, like I need something hard. And then it goes and then it drops and it's, I mean, obviously they're singing, so it's not as hard as it gets, but that beat fucking hits.
Oh, and yeah, like, and then you're gonna get your fucking head kicked in, mixed in the background.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm like, this is exactly what I asked for. I'm like, okay, and obviously after reading, doing some reading, yeah, big money to get that one. So
$50K a use, my goodness.
Yeah, it was CM Punk. It was almost one of those, like, I don't know how much it was a use on that, but I mean, he's been using it for so long, you probably got a halfway decent deal, and it's like one of those ones you have to have.
And they embrace it too, which is really cool. Living color.
Yeah. I mean, why not? That's a good thing.
Well, he probably made the song popular again too.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I'd be a liar if I was like, oh, I didn't bump it at least a good 4 or 5 times, like in the last week. Off like Spotify or whatever, which
good gym workout. Boom, let's go. Bump that CM Punk theme.
But I'm a big fan of any kind of walkout music, anything I can relate to something. Like I've driven like a straight like 8 hours listening to just wrestling music.
Dude, me too. Spotify covered in wrestling themes.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't even like, I pull up to a red light and someone's beside me, like, and it's the middle of the night too, because I'm just jamming it to stay awake. And they're looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
You're listening to Gangrel's theme, just like,
yeah. Oh yeah, that got a couple of spins this week. WWE Music Volume 4.
Yeah.
After Edge, like in the last couple of weeks, that got some spins. I went back to Volume 4.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of going back, we'll rewind, pick up on some of the other great action that we got to see, because it wasn't just about like, and this is what made it so great. It wasn't just debuts. It was also really solid fucking wrestling.
And the pace of the show was perfect.
I mean, starting with the TNT title match.
Oh, man.
Which I called out as being like, I was like, this has got to be first. So I was happy when it was. And it didn't disappoint.
No.
Like those. And a lot of times when you put two guys that are, and they're not similar in style, but they're both sluggers. They're both heavier guys. A lot of times that when there's no diversity in the match, it turns out to be boring. But these two guys fucking just threw.
That's the thing, man. Miro and Kingston got a hell of a personality to both of them, and like mixing that in with like just throwing bombs at each other and throwing the shit out of each other across the ring. It was a fantastic match. I love what they did. I think giving Kingston that opportunity too, giving him a spot on AEW and letting him become that locker room leader and let him step up in the opportunities that he really has been awesome. And then Miro, the TNT title, like I think people at first were a little skeptical when he took the title off of Darby, but he's really like gotten into that role and really
it literally just changed him into this new character. He's well, because I mean, you gotta get the belt to be God's favorite champion.
That's
I
it.
mean, the
Yeah.
Redeemer, he could have did either way, but
It was everything that was done in that match and everything that's been done with both of those guys has been fantastic to watch.
and I honestly, I wasn't sure if they're gonna be able to make him, in my eyes, make him come back from the best man things. I didn't really like it. It wasn't for me.
No, it left a sour taste in my mouth. I've always been a Rusev Miro fan, but like that was a weird start.
Yeah. And then obviously another highlight of the night, and something that at this point you should be an aficionado of, tag team wrestling.
Yes, sir.
Fucking what a cage match. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Good Lord, man. Like Penta and Phoenix are just on another level, and the Bucks right now, like embracing being a part of the Elite, joining Don Callis and Kenny and the Good Brothers. Cutler, Brandon Cutler. Oh my goodness. Then the 180 he's done from the D&D character to being the stooge for the Elite. Like just that whole bit with the Elite right now is amazing. Yeah. I think they're doing the best work of their career.
Cutler thing annoys me, but I mean, it's supposed to. So I get, I haven't figured out which kind of annoyed I am with it yet, but that's okay.
I think it's so over the top. It's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah.
But Penta and Phoenix, man, I got to be honest. I was not expecting Penta and Phoenix to win the match. I
was like, they have to at this point. Like, it's the Bucks have had them for a while. I knew they needed a title change.
I really thought with Santana and Ortiz beating FTR a couple weeks ago
that we were next.
See them take the belts. Yep.
And that's another team that's overdue too. But they have that many good tag teams.
Dude, that division is insane.
Like even Best Friends. That's a team that I already liked as a tag team, but they, like, for me it was just a tag team. That's like one thing out of COVID is that street fight, that tag team street fight.
Woo!
Wow. It sold me on Best Friends. I was like, they're dope. They're dope. This was that, soft on the outside, hard on the inside moment they needed. We're like, yeah, we could party, have a good time. We're a fun act, but at the end of the day, we can
get down and gritty.
And I mean, COVID gave people lots of cool opportunities. I mean, look at the fucking match you guys did with Raunchy Nuts there.
Yeah, man. Look at stuff like the Stadium Stampede, or like the, even referencing WWE stuff like the Firefly Funhouse and the Boneyard match. Like, there's so many cool things that COVID gave us.
Absolutely. But I mean, we wouldn't have gotten the Sunday we just got if it was that way. And it's been good. It was good to have the fans back. Obviously, they've been hot in AEW in general. It's not that they've been cold in WWE necessarily. That I just don't think they're getting given the product to be hot. How have you found crowds since they've been back? And this could be general, like the shows you just got to do. The crowds, like how is that addition? Was it weird for you seeing it back again at first?
Yes, definitely. I think crowds are a little more appreciative. Like, you're not getting as many what chants just on the off chance. Like, I've noticed there's a lot less stupid stuff happening with the crowds nowadays. They're starting to really appreciate being at shows again. Sure, there's the odd occasion where shit goes down, but I've really noticed that people are more appreciative of being at shows again, and like they're loud, they're happy. Even at independent shows that I've seen clips of, No Ring North, MCW, all these shows that are happening, like it's really cool to see people so enthusiastic.
It is, and I mean, to pull the curtain back, fuck, does it make working a match a lot easier when the crowd is just so excited to see wrestling? Because
there's nothing worse than the crowd sitting on their fucking hands.
and it happens. And I mean, it's to put it on the entire locker room as a whole, it's our own fault. Yeah. And the reality is sometimes there's a fucking stinker. You don't know what the guy did before you that came up the curtain. Yep. And sometimes the next person after you can't figure out why. I get the next person after me can't figure out why the fucking crowd. We either had a banger and they're tired, or someone shit the bed and you got to pull them back up.
Yep.
I had the pleasure of going after Tyler Arrow after he jumped off a fucking roof. So that's always fun to follow.
Oh man, that dude has done some insane shit. I've had some wars with him.
Yeah.
I broke a candlestick over his head once upon a time. Enough said.
Well, I mean, you've got your tag team match coming up this weekend, but as seen in your promo, the ultimate goal is obviously for you guys to get back in the ring with Airstrike.
Yeah, man. We've had some really special matches. I've had some really cool moments with Tyler Arrow. I would call him genuinely probably my arch nemesis when it comes to pro wrestling at this moment. Mm-hmm. We just find each other wherever we go. And I mean, even the following weekend, it's myself, JT Kirk, Crystal Moon challenging for the Trios Championships at PWO. And who are the champions? Tyler Arrow, Mike Forte, Scumbag Yates. I just can't get away from this fucking guy.
Hey, but that, that's good because I mean, tag team wrestling is also alive and well in Ontario, and I don't think it was that way for a long time. There's a lot of like random put together teams that will work together here.
I got to be honest, that's the reason why Empire came together. We're two brothers that have a genuine love for tag team wrestling, and we wanted to show that in the best way possible.
I mean, you guys podcasted together. You guys have done your drafts online. You guys do a lot of other stuff together. So, I mean, it's only natural progression. And I mean, maybe that's the reason why there's a lack of tag teams. A lot of people don't necessarily come up together. Like myself, I think I've only wrestled like maybe 3 tag team matches in my entire career. Yeah. In 17 years, 3 tag team matches, maybe. And at least one of them was like a 6-man gimmick.
Not necessarily maybe a selfish thing, but people just have different goals.
Yeah. And no, mine wasn't even not being interested. It's I've always traveled by myself or whatever it is. And you don't mesh with a person that way. Like sometimes unless you're traveling, or sometimes if you're in different places, it's hard to present yourself as a legitimate tag team because you got to link up with this guy and then go there.
I was going to say the best tag teams are people who honestly, for the most part, hate each other in the beginning.
Yeah. But I mean, so like you guys, JT, are you guys like close proximity?
We're about 10 minutes away from each other.
Yeah. See, and that's wonderful. It gives you guys you guys get together for your promos, which is nice. Yeah. It's always together. Like you guys are able to present yourself as a tag team.
And that's that's at the end of the day, that's how I feel it should be. And that's how we're going to try present the trios with Crystal Moon when we're doing stuff with her too.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, tag team wrestling being one of your specialties right now, we get this banger of a cage match on All Out. Where do you think they go like directly from here?
I feel like they got to run it back. I don't necessarily know if they're going to save it for a pay-per-view or do it on the Grand Slam show that's coming up in New York. But I definitely think they're going to run it back, do the rematch. I think you got to get Santana and Ortiz in there. I think whether it's them getting the belts or at least getting a shot, like they haven't had a legitimate shot.
But is with Lucha Bros taking the win in the ladder match, then taking the win in the cage match, is it smart to run it back? Because you don't want to give them a short title run.
Yeah,
and you don't want Bucks to lose again.
That's a fair point. Unless you tease dissension in the Elite, because when Kenny lost the Impact title, they brought in the chair, and that's what Kenny took the Unprettier on. Yeah. So it was like they could do something in that direction, so it protects.
Well, you said you watched all the you watched the stuff with Daniel Bryan and that tonight already. Yep. Adam Cole didn't mention the Good Brothers at all when he was putting over the gang.
Yeah.
Completely left them out. Went down the list a few times, not like maybe twice. I could be exaggerating, but completely left them out.
I noticed that.
And is that because we pick up too much, or like looking too far into it, or?
No, I think they do stuff like that, particularly I think for those smart fans to pick up on.
I actually don't watch Being the Elite. So I miss out on a lot of inside stuff. Mm-hmm. And it keeps a lot of things. I find it keeps a lot of things more of a surprise for myself.
And that's a fair point. I can genuinely see,
because I've had a couple times where someone's been like, "Oh yeah, if you watch this, you just seen this coming," and I'm
Yep.
like, "Okay, good. I'm glad I didn't grab the Cole's notes."
No,
Pun intended. Now I guess.
But yeah, no, the Cole stuff, even him confronting Tony Schiavone was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, and it was almost borderline uncomfortable, which is good.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what you needed.
And I liked that he just bowed out. He did, didn't like make a big deal about it. Because that's Mike Tenay used to do that, and it drove me up the wall. When he get in a wrestle, like the only announcer or commentator that I ever approved of yelling at a wrestler or getting in a wrestler's face without getting their teeth punched in was Mean Gene motherfucking Okerlund.
Yep.
Something about
I was hoping that's the direction you were going.
That mustache and that voice is something said, you know what? He might just pop you in the fucking face.
Yep. He'll kick your fucking ass and put a smile on his face while he's doing it.
Now, do you think that was just a cool moment they did with Schiavone and Cole, or do you think they're going to make anything out of it?
I could see Schiavone taking a super kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we maybe see female representation start to join the elite? Britt Baker break his heart. That's a fucking tongue twister.
Yeah, for real though.
Like Schiavone's heart, not Cole's heart.
That'd be interesting. I never even had processed that being a possibility, but that would be really cool.
Because that's what's funny is she's already a heel, but she has that like slight face element to her. Like her relation is because it's like when they humanize a villain. I think that's what her 100%. Relationship with Tony
and
is.
I think it's already getting to that point too. Like, the dentist stuff, they make it very aware.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even process that to be a possibility before, but now that you've put that in my head, I'm interested if they go that route.
Hey, we'll see. Like I said, I don't know if it was just a cool moment because they like had to address the elephant in the room eventually, or it's just a cool thing to make sure they boo him a little bit more because I mean they're still excited to see Adam Cole. Whatever 100%. It was, it could have been something, it could have been nothing. I mean, it is what it is.
It was a cool little bit.
Mm-hmm. Now, how on earth do you think they top that going forward? I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Like obviously, there's a lot of possibility matches. What would you say the ideal? Like, let's fantasy book it a little bit. What are the ideal feuds going forward that you think they can take for a while? Because they've been very, very good about almost a year of around a year of Jericho, around a year of Mox, around a year of Kenny Omega. And you're saying that we've got Adam Page as next. What do you do with all these other top tier talents? How do you make?
I think so. They've been doing a lot of Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Christian, like that group that surrounded Cutler tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing a lot of them getting involved with the elite stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you get another build to a big match with like a big 5-on-5 or 6-on-6 or whatever the case may be with that. I think you got to pay something off there because they're constantly doing saves and constantly making that a big deal. So I think that's the route you go for now. As for Cole, man, like I'm genuinely stumped what he does as a singles competitor.
Yeah, like is he just a goon?
Exactly. Like I wonder.
Because I mean, prime heel real estate's on Miro's shoulder.
Like, do they go to the route of giving the elite all the titles?
Or because I was already teetering on this because it's kind of my thought process behind it. Do we get, like I said, do we not put the Bucks and run it back with Lucha Bros? Do we let the Lucha Bros take care of the tag team division? And there's already tons of hot tag teams. And do we stick Adam Cole with the Bucks? Do we start putting the Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and all that together? And do we get those like trios titles?
That's been rumored for a while, and even Tony addressed it. I remember a little while ago saying it's a possibility. They built it up.
He said some titles that people really wanted to see, and that was a while back at least.
Yeah, they've really built it up too, where there's a legitimate amount of trios that could be possible. Death Triangle,
Yeah.
the Elite, this random batch of people. You got Jurassic Express with
any combination of the Elite, really, depending on who they got available.
You could have multiple combinations of the Elite, realistically, if you want to go that route. Them fighting each other for the titles. There's a lot of genuine possibilities. I think now would be the time to do it.
Yeah, I like with such a big roster.
Honestly,
but like I've seen on it, and I don't know if maybe this is a reason that they don't do it. Like with the New Day, there's times where one of them got injured, and it was a blessing that they used the Freebird rule. Like, and if one person gets injured, that can be a hard thing on a tag team, let alone a trios team. Like I've even seen it on the independent level with like PWO, where there was a missing member of White Trash Circus, and they got Safe Travis as the replacement, which was fucking.
Even in the early run, the Gentleman's Club, Del Bruno couldn't make some shows, so they got Josh Alexander fill in or whatnot. Yeah, there's been multiple circumstances where even Lucha Underground, where they had the trios championships, they had multiple times where people would get hurt in between tapings. It's tough. That's a really tough division to keep tabs on.
Yeah. And I mean, the only thing that if you have weekly television, that's the payoff, is there's 6 people in the storylines. So I mean, before they all go 3-on-3, there's
a lot of
tons of matches. If you got one injured and they're down for a month and a half, especially with the way the AEW runs pay-per-views where it's not every month, I mean, you can hide it.
That's refreshing too, I think, on AEW's part, to do the 4 pay-per-views a year and stick to the old school format. I think not overblowing and making big Dynamite shows too. Like I think
the specials.
Yep.
If you want to run 6 specials, run 4 pay-per-views, 6 specials.
Yep.
Whatever you want to do. Like I loved Bash at the Beach stuff that they did. Which
the Winter is Coming, where Sting showed up and they had the Mox Omega title match.
And they always do like cool like gimmicks when they're going to people's hometowns, like a homecoming match or whatever it is, like tonight. Like, and they do that often when it's a hometown. They keep it interesting.
Very cool.
So, I think we're getting close to the hour mark, probably 45 minutes, close to an hour. I want to make sure that everybody knows where to find you, and like other podcasts out there, you won't get the boot.
I do a little toy collecting group. It's called the Handshaking Team. We do like live auctions, claim sales, cool stuff. Collectors helping collectors, giving deals at good prices. So definitely recommend checking that out. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Handshaking Team.
The Handshaking Team.
THT, check it out.
I know the roots.
We've also got myself on all forms of social media. I'm at the Great First Days of 4. Empire on all forms of social media at Empire Tag Team. You can check out our website, empiretagteam.ca. It lists all our dates, all cool shit on there. Links to everything that you need to get to. So that's pretty much it for me, man. I genuinely appreciate the time, and I would love to do it again.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's good to have you on the show. Like I said, it was one of those things where when you'd messaged me, I was like, this is perfect. Like, because not a lot of wrestlers want to talk about the mainstream product or have the time to watch it or care to watch it or whatever it is. But you're one person that you've always kept that interest in, like in wrestling. You've stayed a fan throughout everything.
I was gonna say I'm a fan first, man.
Which is good. No, which is good to see. And I have no problem telling anybody I'm a fan more times a week than I'm a wrestler. So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, definitely enjoy having you on the show. I mean, I'm gonna want to have you guys on as a tag team one of these days. I've got some cool ideas for some tag teams. I want to run some different ideas on the podcast. Start doing some upgrades, some crazy new stuff. But that's for another time. Until next time, guys, though, you know where to find me at PD Skillz Show on all forms of social media. And buy one of the beautiful T-shirts that are like along the bottom of the screen. You can't have this one because it was limited edition. And I told you, motherfuckers, get it at the show or you don't get it. Until next time.
Man makes some sweet designs. He's going to be making an Empire one soon.
There we go. And the standard so to speak, is pretty high on that because you guys have always had good shit. But yeah, until next time, he's Matthew Grant and I'm PD Skillz, and we're getting the fuck out of here.